I'm the FanFic Critic. I read it, you listen. Critics. We all know about critics, and we all love critics. I know that you all love me. I know that you all adore me. I'm just kidding around with you, really. Well, there are many types of critics out there. Fanfic critics, nostalgia critics, angry video game nerd critics, animated review critics, film buff critics, comic critics, but there are always two critics. Always two of them that are the most well-known among us critics. Siskel and Ebert. Gods to us critics. If it wasn't for them, there wouldn't be critics like me, or the nostalgia critic, or the angry video game nerd, or the film buff. We would cease to exist. Well, maybe not really, but you get the idea. These guys are a big deal. Now, some of you are probably more familiar with Ebert and Roper, but Siskel and Ebert came first, and they had a lot more chemistry. And no, not in that way. Shame on you for thinking dirty thoughts. They had, they were best friends. And, they agreed to disagree. And, I never really saw much of their show. But, I watched the Nostalgia Critic special on them, and, they seemed really good at what they did. Ebert and Roper, on the other hand, it wasn't really the same. And then when Ebert left because of his illness that he had, it wasn't the same afterwards. So, well, who can guess what I'm going to be reading today? What's this fanfic going to be about? Is it going to be about A, Siskel and Ebert, B, the economy, C, Jack Sparrow, or D, a fan? If you answered any answers other than A, you're a freaking idiot! No offense. I'm going to be reading a Siskel and Ebert fanfic. Ha 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 ha. Probably the first one ever written, most likely. And this fanfic, as far as I know, is not on fanfiction.net. It resides on my computer. Sent to me by a fellow viewer who wrote the fanfic himself. His name is Daniel Laux. Well, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's Laux. That's how you spell his last name, so I'm assuming it's Laux. But, Danny, if you're watching this, just let me know if I said your name wrong, and I'm sorry if I did. Trust me, I know how that is. My last name, for those who know me personally, most people tend to mess up when saying it, although it's pretty simple to know how to pronounce it, but people insist on calling me other names, which kind of gets rather annoying. Okay, enough with that. Let's read this story. The title is Gene and Roger's Big Surprise by Daniel Laux. The rating? Everyone. Author's note. If you love Siskel and Ebert, you'll love this fanfiction. Enjoy! Oh, and the nice thing about Microsoft Word, it highlights all the spelling errors and all of the grammar errors. And I can see right here that fanfiction, I guess it's misspelled. I guess fanfiction should be two separate words, but you want to know what? I'll let that one slide because when I write down fanfiction, I have it as one word. So it's its own word, fanfiction. I'll make up a fanfic critic dictionary or something. So let's read this story. Okay. The story starts off with the phrase, once upon a time. But it's huge. And not only is it huge, it's bold. Like the type in this story is 11 points for font size. And the phrase once upon a time is 20 points. And it's in bold. You don't need the entire phrase to be huge and bold. You should just have the O be big and bold. Have it be a drop cap or something. Because if you have the entire phrase humongo, it kind of, I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. It seems out of place. It's like someone took a huge stamp and stamped once upon a time on the front of this page. Ooh, needs to have an intro. Stamp! Well, let's move forward. Once upon a time, there lived two movie critics. They were Gene Siskel and Robert Ebert. They were best friends that had their own TV show called At the Movies. On that show, they had a special way of reviewing movies, other than just saying what they liked about it. Thumbs up equals good. Thumbs down equals bad. Nice and simple. Their show was very popular, as everyone who loved movies watched it. However, there was one person who did not like the show. This was another movie critic named Gene Shalit. Or Shalit. I think it's Shalit. Shalit. I think it's Shalit. We'll just say Shalit. He too had a show where he reviewed movies. However, it was not as popular. This made him unhappy. He also thought that movie critics should just say their movie reviews instead of talk about the movies. Well, where's the fun in that? That'd be like if I read a fanfic and said, okay, this fanfic was bad. The end. Not entertaining, people. It's boring. So let's continue to read. One day, Gene Shalit decided to get back at Siskel and Ebert. He decided to play a cruel prank on them. He took instead of writing down the word two, TWO, he just put down the number 2. It kind of throws you off if you see the number 2 when it's in a sentence, unless you know it's supposed to be the person counting, like 1, 2, 3, 4. But if it's, you should have the word 2, the TWO one, obviously. Okay, as I was saying, he took 2 videotapes of the movie North and disguised them as 2 videotapes of Citizen Kane. You see, Siskel and Ebert both loved the movie Citizen Kane. However, they absolutely hated the movie North, which is a Rob Reiner movie with Elijah Wood and Bruce Willis as an Easter bunny. I'd go into their reviews of the movie, but I have to keep telling the story, as I am the narrator. That's funny, putting himself in the story. Ha ha ha. Anyway, he then went off to mail these tapes to Siskel and He then went to mail these tapes to Gene Siskel and Robert Ebert. A few days later, Siskel and Ebert got packages in the mail. In each package came a note. Dear Gene Siskel and Robert Ebert, I found the greatest movie of all time for both of you to enjoy. I even gave you each your own tapes, so you can watch it anytime. Hope you enjoy. Your friend, Gene Shalit.